it is so awesome to chat with you again because, besides DMs, I think the last time that we had a great catch-up was when you were on my podcast, the Seesaw Sessions, when we were in lockdown.
So you forgot, we talked in Miami in March.
We did?
During Miami.
Oh, my God.
For a whole 30 minutes and you forgot. I'm so sad.
Oh, wait. Okay. I am editing all of this out because I do remember. It was after dinner with Lorne, and then we did an interview there. Oh, my God.
It's fine. I'm forgettable. I see how it is, Brian. Whatever.
Oh, my God. That's horrible. But
I'm kidding.
Besides that was obviously for awesome reason, but this is for even better reason because now we are celebrating a number one.
I
know. Me too.
When that news article dropped and it was like, Lena Leon is officially number one, I had to stare at it for because it was on Christmas Day. It was a really weird day and I was just reading the article 50 times is this real? Are we sure? Are we actually sure?
You're like, is this something that Christians do to Jews on Christmas Day?
Best Jewish Christmas Day gift I could have ever asked for.
Let me officially welcome you to America's Dance 30. It is so great seeing you.
Thanks, Brian. I'm so excited.
Now, am I right that Spiral is not only your first number one, but it was also your first top 10?
Yes, literally all of it. We just dropped this feeling good about it, but not really expecting much. So this is just a wild time, but I'm grateful.
That is so amazing. Well, congratulations on your first top 10. Congratulations on your first number one. Before we learn all about Spiral, in honor of your first number one, let's get to know Lena Leon a little better with Finky's Firsts.
Okay.
Now, besides your own stuff, you have, of course, written songs for, I can just go on forever, but let's see, Tiesto, Kygo, Valerie Broussard, Annabelle England, Audion, Seven Lions. You did a Christmas song with Cascade that I didn't even realize was you singing until I saw it on the radio, and so many more. But do you remember the first song you wrote?
Oh gosh. I've been doing this since I was 6. It's always a very intuitive thing for me because I got bullied in school. So I would literally be Vanessa Carlton at the piano. As soon as I got home, we need to write some very dark chord type songs about how I feel inside. And so it's just always been a thing I always did. And I didn't realize for a long time that you could make a career out of it because I was there's no way people get paid to do this. It's too good. But yeah, actually, I can't tell you the first song I wrote because it's just, I've been doing it since I was a little kid.
Now, I was bullied too in high school, but I didn't turn that into song. I just got into radio instead for some stupid reason. But do you ever go back to some of your older stuff and revisit those songs?
Yeah, every now and again I'll go back and listen. It's a little bit embarrassing, I'm not going to lie, just hearing some of the older stuff, because we had to get that out of our system, just write 50 to 100 bad songs just to get it out there. A few friends have told me they have a very embarrassing CD of me from middle school when I was handing stuff out. So I'm mortified knowing that people have this. I could totally use it against me at any point. So that's definitely a thing.
We have to find that. I remember having a recording when I was a kid. I used to put headphones on and I would get the lyrics to songs and I would sing them and record myself. I don't know why I did that, but I found a recording back when I was in college and I re-listened to it and I literally just started crying because it was such an innocence. You think back and you're what happened to that person?
I know. It's weird how you evolve as a songwriter as you grow as a person too. It's a crazy thing to watch.
Speaking of high school, did I see that you fell in love with dance music back in high school?
I did, yeah.
Do you remember the first dance song that made you fall in love with it?
So this is a deep cut. very, very much a deep cut. I feel like only dance people will appreciate this, but a song by Stunt called Raindrops.
Oh, what a great song!
That was literally the song. I just remember hearing this and I was like, oh my God, these melodies. Because I've been obsessed with pop music since, Max Martin days of glory pop. So hearing those euphoric melodies and those beautiful chords, I was like, oh, like this is a great genre. Like they appreciate melodies here. And I'm a melody girl. So that made me very happy. But yeah, Stunt Raindrops was the first one.
That was so good. And
Isn't it great?
Yeah, we used to play that on the radio all the time here because we were playing like more underground stuff on my Saturday night show, kind of along the lines of when September Cry For You came out. It was like the same type of synth vocal melody. Oh, that house was so good back then.
Like that whole era was just glorious and so euphoric. And I just, every now and again, I'll go back to it if I want to like feel inspired and excited. So it's fun for me.
And what's even crazier is a lot of that is coming back now. Not only like reinterpolations of those songs, but a lot of those melodies are being worked back into songs, and like the sound of back then is being reworked.
I'm so here for it, honestly. I'm ready.
Stunt Raindrops. Great choice. So, as I mentioned, you have worked with just a long list of artists. Who was the first person that you worked with in the dance music scene?
Ooh, it might have been Mike Perry, I think, when I was, or Danik. It was one of them during the JNXO days, which, by the way, I've never actually said that, like, out loud in public. So,
really?
Yes, you're getting the exclusive.
Hold on. I think that went by way too fast. Why don't you say that one more time?
So I was a part of a little project called JNXO. That was me. There's a lot of people doing detective work, sending me DMs, realizing it's me. And Brian figured it out, and he's amazing. I got a side DM, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even tell him. Like, that's amazing.
No, actually, you had told me when we had, I don't know if it was in Miami or if it was just us chatting beforehand, but you had told me about the whole situation. But it didn't stay kind of like us meeting in Miami again didn't stay in my head. The fact that you had told me that didn't stay in my head. And then when the Christmas song came on with Cascade, and I was like, wait a second, is this Lena?
It was.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. So the first person was Danik?
It was Danik, probably Mike Perry were like the first two, I think, to like really take a chance on me. And then the Cascade moment was really cool. So that was wild. And then as soon as I started off on my own, Tiesto took a chance on me out of nowhere. And I was like, what is happening? This is crazy. So I guess in some ways, like Tiesto was kind of my first, because that was my first like real break off doing it myself, like moment.
Now for the Danik, did you reach out to him or his team, or did he find you?
So I think our teams had been closely working together and we wanted to do something together. So that's how that happened.
And then with the Tiesto, if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of around the time that we met for the first time in real life, correct?
You played my song and we had never met each other. And I was like, oh my God, I need to go up and say hi to this amazing human that like played my song.
Yeah, you came up to me. It was a rooftop party for Ultra and you introduced yourself and it didn't really click at first. And then you mentioned the Tiesto song. I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, we've been playing that. Oh my God, it's so great meeting you. So thank you for coming up and introducing yourself.
And by the way, I never do that. I'm like actually a pretty shy person. So it's kind of insane to me that I'm like, what was I thinking just walking up to Brian like that? Like, hi.
I'm so glad you did. Well, besides us being both awesome human beings of why we get along so well, there's another reason. We are both incredible cat people and cat parents.
Sure.
Do you remember your first cat?
So Echo was my first cat. I'd wanted a cat my whole life. I've always felt like they were kind of my spirit animal, just like inside and out. I just love cats. I think they're amazing and like kind of evil, but also amazing. Like just, it's an amazing spirit animal to have. But my dad was allergic, so we could never get cats. So we always had like hypoallergenic dogs growing up. And I absolutely love dogs too. I feel like that's true for most cat owners. We love both. But I think I was like I was leaving my first job and I was like really sad and like living in my house alone. And I just woke up one day and said, I'm getting a cat today. And I went to a shelter and I didn't connect with any of them. And I was about to leave. And then they said, wait, we've got one in the back. She's like really shy and a little nervous, but I think she'll be like the sweetest cat you've ever known. And they brought her out and I pet her and she like nudged me to keep petting her. And I just knew that that was the moment I had to take her. She's amazing.
What was Echo's name before you adopted her?
It was Jenny. So, I know.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I brought Aiden in honor. My ex-girlfriend,
Wait, is he wearing a suit?
This is what he normally wears around the house. He wears a Letterman jacket, I guess this is, and some jeans.
Stop it. He has an outfit.
He's got an outfit. An ex-girlfriend of mine gave me this for Hanukkah one year, and I was like, okay, what do I do with this? But it has turned into my emotional animal here at the radio station.
Oh, but you have Aiden with you all the time now. That's amazing.
I've got Aiden with me. So that's first of all. But Aiden's name was, I think Aiden was Midnight and Tucker was Poppy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Anyways, enough cat talk. But yes, they do own us. We don't own them.
It's their house. We just exist in it.
Absolutely. Not even their house. It's their world, and we exist in it. Finally, with your number one, Spiral, I saw you talking about how it was based on a panic attack that you had, which, P.S., was mind-blowing. I didn't even realize that's what it was about. My first panic attack was when I was planning for Miami Music Week one year. This was the first time I had ever experienced it, and it was, as you know, the most insane thing. I've like legit thought I was having a heart attack.
You think you're having a heart attack while it's happening. It's scary.
It was horrible. Was that your first panic attack, or do you remember your first panic attack?
I might have had other ones in the past, but this one was so bad. So it was like at the height when Omicron was creeping up again. Because like we had just had a like brief little summer reprise of like, oh great, COVID's gone. Like we get a break from this. And then it was January 2021, New York. All of a sudden, it's like if you went outside, you got COVID. And I actually caught it like a couple weeks before the panic attack happened. But yeah, it was a hard time, you know, like New York got hit hard in a lot of ways, you know, in 2020 and then especially in 2021. And I just remember looking out my window, and I'm sure you had a similar thing in Miami, just hearing sirens constantly. My neighborhood is usually pretty quiet in Brooklyn, and there were just sirens going constantly. And then I just remember thinking how crazy it was that the world was spiraling outside and I was spiraling inside my own house. Like there was nowhere that was safe. And I had held on to that. And then January 2021, I hopped on with Flo August and Andrew Tyler, who I actually did Eternity with Chami with. We had written that song in like 30 minutes, like just thinking, oh, let's just get a quick little dance hook out of the way. And then that one just took off like a rocket. So I shared the concept with them and I said, I really want to write about this. And the song just kind of fell together very quickly. I was kind of like shocked how quickly it came together and how different it was.
That's amazing. Well, you're talking about the sirens. Mine actually happened here at the station while I was prepping for Miami. And as the day went on, I could just literally, I didn't know what was going on. I would just feel like this heaviness on my shoulder, literally like they say, where you feel like the world is on your shoulders. That's how I felt. And I remember laying down because I'm like, okay, something's not right. I should probably just chill out for a bit. Lay down, woke up a little bit later, went to the bathroom and actually blacked out in the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy. Actually saw somebody in the bathroom. I didn't even remember talking to him. In my head, it was like, rah, 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 rah. To him, it was fine because he ended up walking out no problem. I ended up blacking out, caught myself as I hit the urinal, which is crazy. Yeah. Came back to my production room and texted my best friend. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I am going through right now. Was in the fetal position on my couch, ended up laying here for a few hours and then went home. And I remember I woke up the next morning and I felt like I had a fever. And so I went to the hospital and of course they checked everything and nothing came out because it was a panic attack. So I had like EKGs, I had tests and
You had the whole thing.
I had the whole thing and nothing. But the funny thing that you mentioned about the sirens is when we were heading to Miami a couple of days later, and I remember my friend was in the front seat and he was clicking a pen. And yes!
No.
I literally had to turn to him and go, dude, I don't mean to be an ass, but I can feel my anger building up with the click. It was so insane. And that's what people say is once you've had a panic attack, that after that, your anxiety is just like sky high, like right after it. And I remember getting down to Miami. We had a listening session with Armin van Buren, and we were in this room. This is how crazy, I don't mean to spend so much time on this, but this is just how crazy it is. I remember sitting in this room, and Armin was sitting in front of this like spiral, ironically, spiral design, and I could feel my anxiety building, and I actually had to leave in the middle of this listening. It's so crazy what anxiety and panic does to you.
Yeah, it's terrifying, and I didn't even know what it was because I guess I'd had them before, but I didn't really know that that's what a panic attack was. So it was a little scary for a second. Like I had to literally fetal position on the floor, deep breaths. It was the only way I could get my heart rate down because I just didn't know what else to do. And it's a scary thing when the world is spiraling outside, you're spiraling inside, and there's literally nothing you can do. Like it's like the worst feeling in the world. So yeah, that's how Spiral was born.
But that's so amazing that you turned that into a number one. Let's talk about this song. You spoke a little bit about how you got together with everybody to write it, but what was the entire process?
So I think Flo had sent over an early version of the track, and I just thought, oh my God, these are like some Dead Mousey type chords. These are so cool. I love this because I kind of love I'm a musical nerd. I love like chromatic notes and weird chord changes that are unexpected. And he played this, and when I say that melody just fell out, like I feel like Andrew and I were like in sync. I don't even know what was going on, but he was coming up with some of these really cool lyrics that were like very poetic and cool to describe it. And if you go back and read the lyrics, you can actually see like we really were writing about it in a very poetic way, just kind of like falling into that blackness within. That song fell out in like 30 minutes. And I just remember leaving because I had to go track the whole thing. It took like 4 or 5 hours to like really lay down vocals that I was excited about because I did all of it, all the vocal tracking at home. And then I just remember getting the mix back from Flo and being like, oh my God. And you know me, I'm a songwriter. I'm like, I try to be smart and I'm like, okay, who can I give this to that will give it the best chance of succeeding? And I just remember thinking that day, I'm like, is it crazy that I want to keep this? Like, this is such a personal thing. I can't just give it to anybody. And I felt really weird about that. So I let it sit for a year and I never got sick of the song, which was definitely a sign to me. And I even played it for Annabelle at one point, Annabelle England. And she was like, Lena, this is great. Like, you really should think about putting this out. She called it before anybody else did. So I give that girl credit, like, on so many levels.
So crazy that you sat on it for so long.
Yeah, well, I think the rational side of me was like, don't be stupid. You're kind of a nobody. Like, don't just keep this for yourself. Like, let's see if anybody else wants to bite. So we waited. And then I don't know what happened. I think February, March, right around the time that I saw you, actually, I was like, I think I want to put it out. And that was a scary moment because it doesn't really sound like a lot of other stuff on the radio. And I was a little nervous that radio wouldn't get it. But I'm so grateful.
You mention off the cuff that you're a nobody, which is bull crap. But what a lot of people might not know about you is that you do production, you do the vocal stuff, you're writing. I mean, you are a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
Now, I also saw you posting, did the Disco Fries come into this somehow?
Yeah, so we had been talking for actually a couple of years. They reached out to me and said, like, Lena, when are we doing a song for you? And I think we'd sent a few things back and forth. I think we did Borderline together in that period of time, which I was very happy with. And then I just remember I was like, I want to find another one I want to do with these guys. And I want to see if they'd be down to do something for me, because that never really happens. So Spiral had been sitting around for a while, so we sent it to them, And obviously they have this whole finish my track thing, and they're so great at finishing other people's tracks. So they immediately said Spiral is the one. It's giving a 90s feel. This is so cool. So they did their magic on it. They did a lot of work on it. Like, I don't think people realize like how much they did, and it really made the record. And we went back and forth for months trying to get the production perfect, and, you know, the vocal volume and everything. They hate me and they love me at the same time.
Well, that's actually going to lead into my next question. Something I love to find out is how many different versions there are of a song from when you start working on it, all the tweaking that goes on before you finally release it. How many V's were there of Spiral?
Believe it or not, I'd probably say only 5 or 6, like not actually that many. It was pretty solid from the get-go, and they added their magic dust, and I very rarely have nothing to say. I always have something to say, and they killed it. And I was so happy and so proud to put this out. So that was good.
As an artist, because on Evolution, we're playing the Lodato remix of it. As an artist, when you're dealing with remixes, is it hard to do you automatically accept them, or do you normally push back, or how does that go with you?
So with this one, I really did lean on the Disco Fries heavily to like suss out who would be great for what things. And this was the first time, and I think it speaks to the power of the song, that every version we got back felt really special and different in its own way. And that's kind of a crazy thing that's never really happened to me before. I'm like, wow, like even I love the Jack London remix. It's one of my personal favorites, and it's sparse, and it still works, and it's so cool. The Lodato remix is a much happier, cooler version as well. Like, it's such a crazy thing to have so many different, you know, DJs come back with different interpolations of it, and it all worked.
Is it weird as a singer-songwriter when you get different mixes to hear the different sounds and people's different takes on your song?
I think because I'm kind of all over the place as a songwriter too. Like, I'll write like pop stuff, and then I'll write country stuff, and then I'll write dance stuff. I think I'm just used to different sounding things and changing up my daily routine. So I think everyone has their own artistic voice, and they all did a really good job.
Yeah, they did. Well, congratulations on your first #1 with Spiral. I know you mentioned that today, when we're recording this conversation, is normally your finishing up day for songs. So I'm sure you can't really mention that, but what is next for Lena Leon?
There is a follow-up coming. I can say that much. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to share it with you and everyone on Evolution. It's going to be really exciting, and it may be coming sooner than you think.
Are you currently writing for a lot of people as well?
I'm all over the place. I feel like I wake up and I'm just like, okay, we're doing this today. Like, time to get to work. But I feel like a lot of people in music are like that. You know, we have to kind of just wake up and make our own luck. And if we don't get up and make our own luck, it won't happen. So I'm very motivated in that way. But
I love that. Now, as a singer-songwriter who is also trying to make their own career thrive, is it hard to figure out what's going to be for Lena Leon and what's going to be for another artist?
I'd say before Spiral, I would have definitely agreed with you there, because I can kind of do a lot of different kind of stuff, which is kind of hard to narrow down as far as like, okay, this is my artistic style. But I think once Spiral happened, I kind of had this like aha moment, like, oh, this is me. This makes a lot of sense. Like, it clicked. And now, since I've been trying to like, you know, since Spiral started doing well, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I have to follow it up. This is scary. I've been writing like crazy. And then the second we wrote this next one, I knew within like 10, 15 minutes of us writing it. I sent it right to the Disco Fries. They freaked out. Sent it right to my manager, freaked out. So it's wild how you just know sometimes. And I think it took a long time to get here. But once you figure it out, it's worth it. So
I think what you're politely saying is from now on, every song is going to be your song, and no other artist should reach out to you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I would love to do some like Power Lady collabs too this year. That's like top of my list. I would love to work with more DJs and like do stuff together, because I feel like there just aren't enough female voices out there, and I want to help spread, you know, what we can offer as women.
Not only that, but not enough solo female artists out there right now in dance, which is another reason that it's so amazing that Spiral has gone #1. Congratulations. It is always so awesome chatting with you. And on socials, are they all It's Lena Leon?
All of them are at It's Lena Leon. And follow me there, and we can be friends and chat. And you can see all of Brian's cat photos on his Instagram.
Hey,
we love them.
Lena, it's always awesome chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time on America's Dance 30.
Thanks, Brian.